All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, rolling out hour number 3. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. Chris Wynn also joining us in studio. And, I love having iconic entertainers come on this show. We do it from time to time and always support, live shows. And I'll tell you, I've seen this guy's show, I would say, at least a half a dozen times in the last several years. He is one of the best stand-up comics and probably, if not the best prop comic on the planet. None other than Carrot Top right now, joining us live on the show. Thank you so much for being here. How you doing? Oh, God, yes. I've seen it a gazillion times. So I want to start off with the really good news, the surprising news. Maybe some people shouldn't be surprised, but I want to congratulate you that they have extended your contract over there, MGM Properties, into 2025. And, to most people performing on the Strip, if they even get a year on the Strip, they're ecstatic about it. And you get this contract extension. So I guess I could learn from you. What is it like to have that kind of job security?
Well, I'm good for the next 5 years, I guess. It's a true blessing. I mean, going back when I first started, 20-some years ago, 25, as soon as I was at Valley, one, I never thought I would do this, of course I would kind of run. And secondly, I didn't think I would stay with the same company. I've been with MGM for 8 years, so that part of the thing meant a lot to me. That I could stay with the same, company all these years and not move around the Strip. So I've been blessed, and I've got to know my room. I love Luxor, and it's just very, very, very thankful to the Luxor and also the all the fans in town. Next to the billboards every corner.
You bring up a really good point, because I've always said this, and I'm sure you would agree. You need the support from the local community. You can't always expect tourists to sell out a show every night, right? And go ahead. And so comment a little bit on that. I mean, the locals have really treated you well here, and they seem to attend your show on a regular basis. People like me. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
For all these years and letting you sit for it and not being like, oh, I'm tired looking at the billboard. So it's nice. It's nice to have it. And even when you go out, I find it trippy. If I go out to the summer or something, there's a lot of locals on it. And they come up and say, hey, man, good show. Thanks for being part of the town. Thanks for getting involved in the town. So I don't think people realize that Vegas really is kind of a community.
Sure.
They think it's a Strip and they think that's it. When you come out into the suburbs of Vegas, you realize there's, we have grocery stores and we have, restaurants and communities, and we need a lot of people.
No question. We're talking about, having a show that lasts here locally. By the way, if you're just joining us, we're speaking with Carrot Top. He just got extended through 2025. A guy that has come on this show, I've interviewed him a bunch of times, and he's extremely talented, Frank Caliendo. And we had discussions.
Not a fan.
Really? Oh, I was like, you can't do that. You can't.
That would be a first for us.
Yeah. You got me there. Yeah, no, he's awesome. So we had a lot of conversations, and as you know, he had this residency, and he signed a 10-year deal at the Monte Carlo, and his show didn't last very long. And it's not because he doesn't put on a great show. It's not because he's not extremely talented. I just wasn't sure that show was Vegas friendly, Vegas local friendly. I'm not blaming anybody. It wasn't Frank's fault. But, that was one of those shows that just didn't last. And look, he's not the only one. I'm not trying to pick on him. There's plenty of shows in Las Vegas that try to get that long contract, that long residency that you've had for such a long time. So why is it, you think, that your show has been so popular? Like you said, you've been here for decades. Why do you think that is? And then there are the Frank Caliendos out there where if they just don't get that type of contract extension and that long-lasting power that you have had.
Well, first of all, we've all had that discussion in this town about what shows, how they last, and I wish I had a mix to that. And going back, you said there are so many shows that have gone to this town that I was like, wow, that was such a great show. How did that not make it? So that I don't know, and going to my show, again, I really don't fresh. I know, you know, those comics write new jokes, so I'm sure the show is always fresh. I don't know. I'm dumbfounded. I think every night, oh my God, I hope they show up again, and we get to keep going. So, that's a mystery question. But I'm lucky in that regard that somehow people are coming back, and we've been doing this for, oh God, I've been doing comedy since '86, so it's been, you know, 34 or something like that. But, yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
So Carrot Top, we have some similarities. Myself, I moved out here to Las Vegas back in the mid-2000s from Orlando, Florida, where I have a ton of affection and affinity for that area, for the Central Florida area. That's where you grew up. That's where you basically, you know, have your start from. But I have to wonder, you know, you go from Orlando, Florida, which of course is, you know, the home of Disney. Now you're in the entertainment capital of the world. Where did the inspiration come from for you to be an entertainer and someone who's going to look to do this for a living and have parlayed it into such a successful career? Is it something that spurred you in your early days back in Central Florida and down there?
Absolutely. I do a whole routine of shows when I was 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mom, well, it's a true story. I remember always watching the Tonight Show. My mom would find me in the living room at like 5 years old. What are you doing? I'm watching the Tonight Show. And she's like, when you're 5, you're going to be. I remember sneaking out there and watching. I'm going to be a comedian one day. I'm going to be on the Tonight Show. And she's like, okay. And then I was on the Tonight Show with her, and I was standing there telling, it was like standing on the actual gold star where Carson stands every night. And you just kind of have this weird moment, like, how the hell did I get here? This is the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
I've never forgotten that moment, but I was like 8 years old, and I had this, my father had this incredible tool collection. I mean, like thousands of tools, and they were all outlined and numbered. So if any tool was missing, oh man. So I came home from school one day, my dad's like, have you put my hammer? And I said, no. He said, you think you haven't? I said, no. You think it might be in your forge? I said, it's not in the forge. And I said, I don't know. Should we go look? And I'm like, no. Then we go looking, and sure enough, there's the hammer. My dad's like, well, how did the hammer get in here? I said, I don't know. He just walked in here by himself. So like an hour later, I went got a hammer, and I brought these little like hands and arms, and I drilled it onto the hammer, and I gave it to my dad in the workshop. I said, Dad, I think your hammer didn't walk in here by itself. And I literally had the brain in my office, the first prop I ever built.
Mm-hmm.
And the reaction was from my dad, like, what the hell is my hammer? And I just thought, when he was saying it, to this day, I forget about it, but prior to that, I showed him it framed in my office, and he said, oh my God, I remember that.
and
That's when I first became a prop comic.
and so for those who haven't seen your show, you probably use the most props of any comedian in show business. Why do you decide to use so many props?
Well, I don't know. That was just my shtick, you know. When I started doing it, I mean, of course, there's a lot more stand-up in the show than there's been. But yeah, it's evolved into kind of a little bit of everything. But I've always liked the props. I've always believed in them. Everyone would give me a hard time not doing it. I was always like, why would they care? It's my art. And Eddie Murphy was just a TV show the other night, and I was just falling asleep listening to him. He was talking about comics. And he said, you know what? The most important thing that you can say to a comic, and I was what he was saying, is to believe in your stuff, no matter what it is. If it's your stuff and you believe in it, and you make it you, that's all that matters at the end of the day. And I'm sitting there thinking, that is so profound and so great. And as a prop comic, I got so much grief over doing props. And it's so like, really, why do they care? Why are they even saying this? Like, you do your act, I'll do mine.
Sure.
I never looked at it like that.
Sure. For the record, I do believe in my stuff. I just wish my dates would believe in it as well. But that's another story for another show. Okay.
That's just awful.
Awful
Terrible.
joke. Carrot Top, don't use that in your act. That's a horrible joke. So I remember growing up watching your 1-800-COLLECT commercial. Call 1-800-COLLECT and save a buck or two. Do you think that the invention of the cell phone cost you millions of dollars in sponsorship money?
I have really been bummed about that. Although this commercial, it was like the progressive ones now. They're so annoying. When I was doing it, you know, like your commercials are so annoying. And I say, I know, but they're paying me to be annoying. I can't help it.
How does?
All the time.
So why don't you? Okay, so why didn't it turn to cell phone commercials? What happened there?
Trust me, I'm trying. I'm still trying. I'm the phone guy.
Yes, I know exactly. So, like, Heather, what are some of the biggest celebrities that have actually attended your show? Because I imagine there's a array of celebrities. Have you ever been nervous on stage knowing that maybe a president was in the crowd, or besides Frank Caliendo? Yes.
Yeah, I've had, well, there was a rumor that Obama was on the show. It never happened, but there's been a lot of celebrities that come, yeah. But there's one that made me just kind of go, okay, this is cool, is Queen, the band Queen.
Oh,
Wow.
So, they come back, and three friends come back, and they walk in my dressing room, and go into my little green room, and they're like, it's Queen. I mean, they're in their jackets, and they look like $1 billion, right? They smell good, they're Queen. And they're like, fuck, yeah, we come play the show. And I'm like, oh, man. So they go out, and they watch the show, and there's a whole bunch of Queen in my show. Like, I do a whole bunch of Queen song stuff, and there's Freddie Mercury, who tells the drums that song. And,
I remember that.
yeah, they come back and they're like, fuck, they were blown away. They were so generous and sweet about the show. They wouldn't stop talking about it. At dinner, they kept talking about it. And that moment, I remember thinking, when I went home that night and got in bed, I said, all right, that was pretty damn cool. I mean, I'm thinking about when I was on stage, I was playing in literally like this loft attic in college on top of this bar. And then I'm thinking, Queen was at my show tonight. So there's moments like that where you just, it was even stronger than the Tonight Show. I think just having them in my presence and being so cool.
so Carrot Top, being a unique entertainer like you are, obviously you get opportunities to be in all types of media situations. What has been your favorite when it comes to whether it's either movies or TV shows where you're like, oh wow, this is super cool. I get a chance to to be in the realm with some of these people.
Well, I just told you last night. I was, of course, I think movies are fun.
Uh-huh.
It's different energy. Stand up is a different thing. You do the joke, bam, it's funny or it's not funny. In a movie, you're just sitting out there with nothing, and you deliver your lines, and no one can laugh. And then you go, and cut. All right, move on to the next scene. So you don't funny. So, but I did get to work with them when I was young. I was in a movie, and I seen with Raquel Welch. I remember calling my mom at the time. I'm in a movie with Raquel Welch. She's like, no, you're not. How weird is that?
That's awesome.
But the best one I just told last night, there was a movie that came out called Las Vegas, and they shot a lot of it, mostly in Atlanta, but they shot some here. But of course, they called me and said, hey, you want to be in this movie? I said, absolutely, I'm a whore. Yes, of course. They flew me to Atlanta, and I get there, and it's Robert De Niro, Michael Douglas.
Nice.
Morgan Freeman. Yep.
Morgan Freeman.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I like 5 in the morning, it's dark out. So the director comes over and gives me some hugs and says, hey man, the guys are so excited. We're so excited. It's great. And I got you set up in this little room in here. It's kind of cold. I got you set up in this little room. So we walk in this room, and there's 4 chairs with all those guys' names on it, right? And I go, what the hell? And he says, let me grab your chair. I go, wait, no. He goes, yeah, let me get your chair. So he puts this blank chair there with these 4 other chairs with all these, those names on it, right?
Jeez.
And I'm like, I'm not sitting here. There's no way. He said, they'll be right back. Sit right in the chair. And I'm like freaking out. I get my phone out. I'm taking a video of all the chairs. Michael Douglas. And all of a sudden they come walking in. Michael Douglas says, hey man, how you doing? I said, great. De Niro says, hey man, how you doing? You're out in Vegas. I said, good. I said, we shot for shit in Vegas. Why the hell did they fly to Atlanta? I said, right? And so they was having a great time, and then Morgan Freeman walks in, and he goes, who the hell are you? I said, I was waiting for one of you guys to say that, because it can't be. No, seriously, who the hell are you? He didn't say that. He said, who after you? And he kept saying that. And not even being funny. He was saying, like, seriously, who the F are you? And I said, I don't know. And then Michael Douglas goes, you're a car. Oh, for God's sake.
So what is so that's
all got my back on that because Morgan Freeman kept shaking his head like, I have no idea who you are. And they got it.
so you're telling me Klein, Michael Douglas, Robert De Niro, obviously they know who you are. These are and these are 4 of the arguably the most iconic male actors in the history of the big screen. And Morgan Freeman walks in there and he has no idea who the hell you are. So, like, do you like?
It was nice, but
Yeah.
He just didn't care.
Do you hang out with those guys? Like, when you
that day I did. That day I hang out in the chairs and we talked to each other, which is weird, but yeah.
So who are some of the big celebrity friends that you have? Like when you travel to LA, I would imagine you've been done movies, you've been doing this for a long time. When you go to LA, what is a typical Saturday if you're not doing your show? We know you're a hard worker, you're usually at the Luxor, but when you're not doing your show and you want to go out and have fun, like who are some of the celebrity friends that Carrot Top parties with and hangs out with?
You know, back in the day when I lived in LA before Prestige and I was younger and I'd probably just hang out with people more than I do now. Now I'm old and I just hang out with no one. But yeah, you know, I know people, so it's kind of fun. You know, you walk to a restaurant, hey, how you doing? But the restaurant in LA is always kind of fun no matter what, because everyone gets excited to see celebrities, which is fun. And there's a place there that you go and paparazzi's horrible, they're always standing aside asking you stupid questions. They have nothing to do with TV. Like, what do you think about so-and-so?
What do you think about Kim Kardashian's baby?
Aerosol.
Get what they want. Then I go in, and then when you walk in, this is the last one there, and this Don Rickles is still alive. He was old, like 6 months ago, whatever it was. He was sitting at a table with like literally like Larry King, Don Rickles, Mrs. Brady.
Wow.
And Mrs.
Oh my God.
And then me, and I'm like, what is going on? So I went over to you guys. I was going to go see Don Rickles. So I didn't want to bother, but I said, I better say hi, right? I walked up to him and said, Don, hi, I don't want to bother you, but I was going to say hi if you remember working with on Dennis the Menace. He said, I've tried to forget everything you and I have ever done. Don Rickles, and I said, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to bother you, but that's too late now, you bothered me before. I said, I just wanted to say hi. He said, well, you said hi, you gotta leave. And I said, okay, I'll leave. And then he goes, come here, kid. He's like, Chief, how are you doing? How are you? I said, good. Is my name still good in Vegas? I said,
Well,
So you mentioned.
you know my friends, say hi to my friends. They go, hi. That's if I don't know my friends. It was a brilliant moment.
yeah, that's amazing. And I remember I met Don Rickles about 6 months before he passed away at the Orleans. I was able to meet him backstage. He just so funny. And I remember he said, Brian, what's your last name? And I go, Shapiro. And he looks at me and he goes, you're a Jew? And I said, yeah. And I said, well, since you're a Jew, come on over here and sit down with me. I mean, what was amazing to me about him is even to the day he died, his brain still worked so well. You know, he was brilliant.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
the only way that I walked up. Do you remember working with me? I've tried to forget everything you've ever done.
Oh, that's an incredible story. So I have to ask you about this. Your body, you are just diesel, right? People, I look at you now.
Guy is
first of
ripped
all,
up.
Yeah,
He's
you
ripped
are,
up, Brian.
You are just ripped, and I know
Yeah.
I know you work out a lot. But like, what advice would you give to?
I believe it.
What advice would you give
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt
to
that.
3 people in studio right now that will never be on the front of Fitness Magazine? What advice would you give? I mean, I would imagine you eat very healthy, you take care of yourself. How the hell do you get to look the way you look at your age?
Well, first of all, since my mom was Baptist, since I was, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, I started working out. I wanted to be a wrestling team, and I was a swimmer. So I've always been taking care of myself since I was a kid, and always in college I worked out. So I've never stopped. So that's one thing. I've always been a fanatic in a sense of that. And I do eat good, but I also, as my friends only know, I do really take it seriously. Like I go to the park every morning and I run 5 miles. So it's like every morning. Okay, if it's cold out, I do like that. So there's a lot of things that I do. It's not like, oh, I'm a little bit genetically blessed because I kind of lean. But I really do work hard at it. So it takes a lot of time, you know. Not really. It takes, you know, you get up and run, you know,
Yeah, 30, 45 minutes.
just walk 1 mile and then go to the gym and do 20 minutes. But it doesn't have to be anything crazy. But I do, like I said, I do work at it, and I also do eat clean. So.
Now, I will say this: I did see you at of course you have to do that. But I did see you at Giordano's at Fashion Show Mall a couple years ago. So I don't know if you're eating clean that day, but for
Sundays are pizza, you know.
oh, okay, that makes sense. Right. So your cheat day is Sunday.
Yeah, usually watching football.
Gotcha. So you mentioned how Vegas is a community. You've been here and how the local support is so big. What's your and I moved here 2 years ago from Omaha, Nebraska myself, and I think that the food in Vegas is the most underrated part of the entire city. What's your favorite restaurant in Vegas, Carrot Top?
There's so many, isn't it great? And they keep adding more and more of them. And we like going down to Italy and Florence. So fun.
I have not
Yes.
been there yet.
I have.
It's great. You feel like you're in New York. Or it's like you're all the country of the world. But we went to one in Rome, and you go into one here and you feel like you're back there. You know, it's just a great. Everybody works here is authentic. Like they go to Italians. They make the recipe. But out in the places, out here in Vegas, that's even on the strip. I mean, my goodness, like every hotel has 3 or 4 fabulous restaurants.
Yeah, well, Carrot Top, let me say this. You represent this town so well. You've done a lot of good things for a lot of people in this town, and Vegas is very, very lucky to have you here. Like I said, I've seen your show a bunch of times. You're extremely talented. We're really happy for you that they have extended your residency into 2025. Are you ever going to shave your head, by the way? Is that ever going to happen?
Well, they have all these golf caps.
You have to be the most recognizable guy, like one of the most recognizable people, because of your hair, I would imagine, right?
Well, yeah, I'm shooting on mine now.
Carrot Top, thank you so much for joining us, man. We really do appreciate your time. We'd love to have you on again sometime.
Thanks for chatting. Thanks for the love and support over the years of the show. I really appreciate that.
You
Thanks
bet.
a lot, buddy.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
thanks a lot, Carrot Top.
All right. Thank you. All right, there you go. Class act right there. And extremely talented guy, very funny. Carrot Top. And his, if you just joining us, his residency has been extended. His contract has been extended through 2025. The guy's been here for decades. He knows how to put on a really good, friendly, family-friendly, but fun show that involves politics, music.
Do you know how much money
and
this guy has made in his career?
Oh, he's made a
I
lot.
can imagine.
Almost
It's a lot.
$100 million.
Yeah.
Why didn't I ask him that? Hey, Carrot Top, how much money's in your bank account? That's usually the question I ask people.
Every single time.
Well, hey, he's hanging out with people like Nikki Sixx and Mrs. Brady and
that's
people
really
like that
impressive.
in L.A. That you got to be big time to be in that crowd.
That Don Rickles story was pretty cool because
the Morgan Freeman story was the best.
that was good too. That Don Rickles story, it's exactly the way he treated me.
Yeah.
Same sort of fun, humor, sarcasm. Don Rickles is one of the best. By the way, if you haven't had a chance to check out Carrot Top, you got to do it. He performs, I believe, 5 nights a week, and it is at the Luxor. He has his own, place where he performs, that they built for him. It is an unbelievable show. It is family friendly, and it is a lot of fun. And by the way, it's also affordable. For God's sake, some of these shows on the Strip cost $200-300. Not the case with Carrot Top. It's affordable to bring your family, and it is an absolute great time. And we really do appreciate Carrot Top taking some time to join us. All right, so this is a wild and crazy story that I want to get to when we come back. A girlfriend is charged in a Boston college student's death after telling him hundreds of times to kill himself. Do you believe that she should be convicted? We'll get to that story and O.J. Simpson back in the news. That coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take.